Hello, neighbors. Welcome back to the channel. Pull up a chair and let's get comfortable, because today we are diving deep into the murkier waters of the Markle saga. And when I say deep, I mean Mariana Trench deep. You know, I've always said that where there's smoke, there's fire, but in the case of Meghan Markle and her mother Doria Ragland, it feels like there's been a smoke machine running 24/7 to obscure the view. But recently, a gust of wind blew through the studio at GB News, and for a split second, the haze cleared, leaving everyone absolutely speechless. We are talking about live TV chaos, bombshell accusations, and a narrative shift so seismic it could register on the Richter scale. Now, I know you guys are excited for more, but before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on, guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So now, let's set the scene. You have GB News, usually the home of spirited but somewhat controlled debate. And then you have Carol Malone, a woman who clearly ran out of patience with the curated fairy tales coming out of Montecito. In a moment that will go down in broadcast history, she dropped a claim so wild, so specific, and so damaging that the other hosts looked like they wanted to crawl under the desk. She claimed, live on air, that Doria Ragland, the serene, classy, yoga-teaching mother of the Duchess, had gone to prison. Yes, prison. The big house, the clink. Now, before we clutch our pearls too tightly, let's unpack this. This isn't just a random accusation thrown out into the ether. This is the missing puzzle piece that critics, royal watchers, and frankly anyone with eyes has been looking for. We have all asked the same question for years. Where was Doria? We know Thomas Markle raised Meghan for a huge chunk of her childhood. We know he paid for the private schools, the dance lessons, the lighting for her plays. We know he was the one making the packed lunches and driving the carpool. But Doria? Her presence in Meghan's teenage years is like a ghost, flickering in and out, here for a graduation photo, gone for the day-to-day grind. Malone's claim stitches these disparate threads together into a tapestry that suddenly makes sense. If Doria was away, whether it was for legal reasons, as Malone boldly suggested, or some other shadowy absence, it explains the vacuum. It explains why Thomas was the primary parent. It explains why Meghan's perfect childhood stories always felt a bit thin. And let's be real, the reaction in the studio said it all. The panic. The "did she just say that" look on the co-hosts' faces. It was electric. Malone even doubled down, saying, "Do you want me to give you the precise date?" She claimed she had the files. She mentioned an eviction in 1996. This wasn't a slip of the tongue, it was a receipt being slammed on the table. And think about the implications for Meghan. We have been sold a bill of goods about her upbringing. The strong female lineage, the inseparable bond with her mother. But if Doria was absent for years, during the most formative time of a young girl's life, that changes everything. It changes the psychology of who Meghan is. It suggests abandonment issues. It suggests a need for control. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the resentment she holds toward her father isn't about betrayal, but about misplaced anger. Thomas was the one who stayed. Thomas was the one who did the work. And how does she repay him? By ghosting him and elevating the absentee parent to sainthood. It's twisted. It really is. We have heard the whispers before. Lady Colin Campbell has hinted at it. Samantha Markle has practically shouted it from the rooftops. Tom Bower wrote about turbulent years. But the mainstream media? They sat on it. They protected the narrative. Why? Because it didn't fit the modern princess storyline. A duchess with a mom who served time? That's not the fairy tale. That's a reality show. And the palace, in their infinite wisdom, or naivety, probably helped bury it too. Can you imagine the vetting process? Oh, the mother of the bride has a checkered past? Let's just ignore that. It feels like a cover-up of massive proportions. And let's talk about Doria for a second. The woman is an enigma. We see her at the wedding, looking teary-eyed. We see her in the Netflix documentary, looking calm. But we never hear the details. Where was she when Meghan was 13, 14, 15? The years when a girl needs her mom the most? If Malone is right, if she was away, then the reunion at the graduation wasn't just a happy family moment. It was a cameo appearance. It was a guest star dropping in for the season finale. And that makes Thomas Markle's role even more tragic. He was the constant. He was the rock. And now he is the villain? Make it make sense. The sheer hypocrisy of it all is what gets me. Meghan preaches about truth, about authenticity, about using your voice. Yet her own history is a minefield of redacted files and blurred timelines. If she really wanted to be an advocate for overcoming adversity, why not own this? Why not say my childhood was messy? My mom made mistakes, my dad stepped up. That would be relatable. That would be human. But Meghan doesn't want to be human. She wants to be a deity. She wants to be perfect. So she erases the messy parts, erases the father who knows the truth, and presents a polished, plastic version of reality. And look at the timing. We have the missing years of Doria, and now we have the missing years of Meghan's own history, potentially coming back to haunt her. The rumors of a tape, the rumors of her yachting days, it all paints a picture of a life lived on the edge, a life of hustle and survival. And there is no shame in survival, but there is shame in lying about it. There is shame in pretending you were always this humanitarian saint when the reality was much grittier. The public reaction to Malone's outburst was fascinating. Half the internet gasped, the other half said, finally, because we aren't stupid. We see the gaps. We see the inconsistencies. We know that mothers don't just disappear for years without a reason. Whether it was prison, a hippie commune, or something else entirely, Doria checked out. And that choice had consequences. It shaped Meghan. It likely scarred her. And now we are seeing those scars manifest in her behavior. The cutting off of family, the desperate need for validation, the rewriting of history. It also makes you look at Doria's current role differently. Is she the mastermind some people claim? Or is she just along for the ride, enjoying the perks of a life she didn't help build? She's living in the mansion, she's going to the concerts with the Kardashians, she's living the high life. But where was she when the rent was due in 1996? According to Malone, she was getting evicted. According to the files, she was in trouble. It's a classic rags to riches story, but one that skips the most interesting chapters because they don't fit the brand. I honestly feel for Thomas Markle in all of this. The man has been vilified. He's been called every name in the book. But if Doria was gone, he was a single dad raising a teenage daughter in LA. That is not an easy job. He paid for Immaculate Heart. He paid for Northwestern. He did the heavy lifting. And now he's dying alone in Mexico while Doria sits in Montecito, being hailed as the dignified one. It is a gross miscarriage of justice in the court of public opinion. And Malone's comments are the first step in correcting that record. Of course, we have to mention the cover-up aspect. If the palace knew, if the press knew, and they all stayed silent to protect the Duchess, it shows just how much protection Meghan actually got. She claims she was thrown to the wolves. Honey, it sounds like the wolves were muzzled for years to keep your secrets safe. If the press had run with Harry's future mother-in-law is an ex-con before the wedding, do you think that carriage ride would have been quite so smooth? I doubt it. The studio chaos was just the icing on the cake. The co-hosts trying to deflect, the nervous laughter. It was the sound of a narrative crumbling. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Malone said it. The words are out there. Prison, jail, evicted. These are now part of the conversation, and Meghan can't sue her way out of this one easily, because if she does, she opens the door to discovery. She opens the door to those files being unsealed, and something tells me that is the last thing Team Sussex wants. It connects to everything else too, the bullying allegations, the mysterious missing periods in Meghan's own resume. It's a pattern of obfuscation, a pattern of hiding the truth to maintain an image. But the truth has a funny way of coming out, doesn't it? Usually when you least expect it, like on a Tuesday afternoon on GB News. I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you believe Malone's claims? Does it change how you see Doria? Does it change how you see Thomas? For me, it humanizes Thomas and makes Doria look, well, let's just say complicated. It makes Meghan's perfect family narrative look like a complete fabrication. And frankly, it makes me wonder what else they are hiding. If they can hide a prison stint, what else is buried in the archives? Leave your comments below. I read every single one of them, and I know you guys have been suspicious about this for years. Is this the vindication we've been waiting for? Is the House of Cards finally falling down? It feels like the wind is picking up. Neighbors, and the Sussex structure is looking very, very shaky. Don't forget to hit that like button if you support the real, hard-working royals, William, Catherine, the King and Queen, and subscribe so we can keep digging for the truth together. The mainstream media might want to hide it, but we don't. We shine a light right into the dark corners. Stay tuned, because I have a feeling this is just the beginning of the Doria files. Catch you in the comments. Ta-ta, and bye for now.